Welcome to the live stream. Good to be back. It has been, I guess it's been a week to the day since the last live stream. A lot has happened in the last week. Number one, I went to and already came back from Las Vegas, where I broadcast from a conference, Mike Papantonio's conference, his legal conference, and I saw Sam Cedar, and I saw Cenk Uygur, and I saw a whole bunch of progressive media people. That was good. Already made it back. Told some very interesting stories, one relating to David Blaine and rape, and another relating to kind of a weird, I guess I'd call it a safety-related incident on my flight home from Las Vegas. Both of those stories on today's bonus show, and you can check that out if you are a member or patron. Both very, very good stories. We also, since the last time I live streamed, have achieved and surpassed the 400,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. And thanks, first of all, number one. But that is a big accomplishment for us. I mentioned this on the regular show today, but the first month of our YouTube channel, we had 777 views. The entire month, we had 777 views. And now we average anywhere from 7 to 12 million views per month on the YouTube channel. So it has become such a huge platform for us, and it really started kind of on a whim. In fact, I mentioned Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks back in 2000. I guess it must have been the summer of 2009. I met Cenk at a radio conference in New York City. And he said, I think this YouTube thing could be big. I would suggest just film the radio show and podcast that you're doing and just put it on YouTube and see what happens. And obviously, I'm glad I did, now that it's such a huge platform for us, both for live streaming and for the regular show content and everything else. So thank you to the 400,000 plus of you who have helped us get to 400,000 subscribers. That is absolutely huge for us. And we're actually going to be doing, I mentioned this again on the regular broadcast show today, and there will be a YouTube clip publishing at some point. Not exactly sure when. This Friday, we are going to have a 400,000 related membership special that will go out to everybody who's on our newsletter list, and you can get on that at davidpakman.com. Right side of the website, you just type in your name where it says "Stay in the Know," I think it is. And then on Friday, you'll get an email which will tell you how to take advantage of a 400,000 related membership special. So all very exciting things. And we're going to get into the political talk here momentarily. I'll be taking your questions. If this is your first live stream, welcome. And it is really live unless it's not. If you're watching a replay, then it is not live. But that aside, live streams are live, which is very exciting. And as a result of that, you can ask questions, you can send comments. I will read them. I will answer your questions and respond to your comments. Two ways to do it. Number one, use the $ at the bottom of the chat window, which is YouTube's super chat. You can ask a question. I'll read it and respond. You can make a comment. I will read it and react. You can also circumvent YouTube's super chat fee, which I believe is 30%, by going to streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. Link to that in the video description. You can still ask questions, you can still make comments, but you do not have that 30% YouTube super chat fee. So that's a really great thing. And then, of course, new members and patrons will get live thank yous and shout outs during the live stream. We are starting the evening at 1,951 patrons. When we get to 2,500, I will be recording, editing, and uploading my Boston College lectures. I'm teaching a class at Boston College this semester. A number of people, hundreds of you, have expressed an interest in us producing those lectures for YouTube. They're about 75 minutes each. There's about a dozen of them. And when we get, it's a lot of work, but when we get to 2,500 patrons, we'll do that. We're at 1951 right now. And it'd be great to get to 1975 tonight. If we get to 1975 this evening, I'll create and release a 55% membership discount code. And then, of course, if you don't want to wait for that, there's a 40% membership discount code already available at davidpakman.com/membership. And anybody who signs up again during the stream, I will thank you. I will sing your praises extensively during the stream. And I think that that will be a very, very important thing for all of us. So thank you in advance, and we'll get to that. So there's been this back and forth over Donald Trump's conversation on the phone with Army widow, Gold Star widow, Maisha Johnson. And she is the widow of LaDavid Johnson, who was tragically killed in Niger. And the controversy started around just, is Donald Trump even going to talk about it? Is he even going to react to this? And only when the media heat became significant did Donald Trump comment on it. And then soon thereafter, we heard from Maisha Johnson as well as Congresswoman Frederica Wilson that Donald Trump lacked total empathy during the phone call, that he reportedly said something along the lines of, well, I'm sure your husband knew what he was getting himself into. I'm paraphrasing, when he was serving. And there were questions as to whether Frederica Wilson was telling the truth in terms of her characterization of this phone call with Donald Trump or not. Well, Donald Trump has called it fake news, but we've now heard from Maisha Johnson. She was interviewed this morning. I think she did a couple of interviews, actually, but the one we'll be playing clips from tomorrow is from Good Morning America with George Stephanopoulos, where she effectively said, Frederica Wilson's characterization of my phone call with Donald Trump was 100% correct. And I was thinking when I saw the interview, okay, well, Trump's not going to get into a Twitter war with a Gold Star widow, is he? And of course, why wouldn't he? He criticized a Gold Star dad, Khizr Khan. Why wouldn't he start calling a Gold Star widow effectively a liar? And indeed he did. Within something like, I think it was a half hour. I'm just going off the top of my head. Going to do the full story tomorrow. Within roughly a half hour of Maisha Johnson saying, yeah, what Frederica Wilson said is true, Donald Trump took to Twitter basically countering the characterization of Gold Star widow Maisha Johnson, saying that he knew the deceased soldier's name and, whatever else it was that he said. And my immediate reaction was, how do you win a media fight with a Gold Star widow? This is self-inflicted damage. And the only thing, people say Trump's playing 4D chess, the guy is a master. The only way that you could convince me that what he is doing makes any sense at all is if it's misdirection to take attention away from horrible stuff that he's doing. And I know he's trying to do horrible stuff. One of those things, by the way, is allowing the mandatory recall of retired Air Force pilots, which we're going to get to. It's a whole other story, and we're going to get to that tomorrow. But unless there is something absolutely major that Donald Trump is attempting to take attention away from, I don't know how you win a media fight against a Gold Star widow. And if somebody in Super Chat or through Streamlabs wants to explain to me what the win is here, how do even right-wingers support Donald Trump picking this fight with a woman who is presumably at the high point of her grief here? She went to the funeral of her now deceased husband, LaDavid Johnson, on Saturday. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was playing golf, spending something like, I think, the 74th day during his as yet short-lived presidency, the 74th day playing golf, and it is he who is picking a fight with this Gold Star widow. And his exact quote, let me pull up his tweet, I do have it here. Within a half hour of this interview that Maisha Johnson did, he tweeted, I had a very respectful conversation with the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson and spoke his name from beginning without hesitation. The other story we did today that relates to this is that we had Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, saying there is no transcript of that phone call with Maisha Johnson. Meanwhile, you have Lara Trump, who is the wife of Trump's son, Eric Trump, saying on Fox News that she read the transcript. And there's a full YouTube clip up about that. I won't repeat that story. There is no transcript. I read the transcript. How could both possibly be true? In what universe could both of those statements possibly be true? And it's just more lying. And who is really, the news is not the lying anymore. And I've spoken about the need for media, particularly progressive independent media, to really pick and choose which abrasive and scandalous Trump stories to report on, because the reality is when everything is a scandal, nothing is a scandal. And that means we have to pick and choose. And, Trump lying, the Trump family lying, is not exactly news right now, but the persistent and constant disrespect of the military absolutely is a story here, and that's what I'm hearing from people. And the right likes to say that they have the sort of monopoly, or they don't like to say it, they believe that they have the monopoly on patriotism and pointing out when someone isn't supporting the troops, typically Democrats. I've said it for years. Supporting the troops is not putting a yellow ribbon on your car. It's just not. And the reality is that supporting the troops means, to me, not sending the troops into battle unless it absolutely is necessary to maintain our national security. Sending troops into battle for political gain, for natural resources, whatever, that is not supporting the troops to me. Blindly defending whatever mission the president assigns to the troops, that's also not supporting the troops. Saying that X or Y statement is disrespect to the troops, as if the troops are some singular entity. What am I referring to? I'm referring to the flag controversy. That's also not being supportive of the troops. And it's truly disgusting what we are seeing here time and again from Donald Trump and from the right. And I'm every day I am seeing new lows here, and it's absolutely and totally disgusting. Okay, very quickly, I want to address this before we get into some of the other political news that's going on. I've already seen a couple messages in the chat, and a couple people have asked, why isn't David covering the Clinton-Russia uranium story? It's a major scandal, and it's terrible for Democrats, and David is refusing to cover it. I hate to break it to you, but the Russia-Clinton uranium story is, number one, very much lacking in evidence. A lot of it has to do with Russian racketeering involving American nuclear companies. And a lot of the recent reporting doesn't really present much new evidence of anything. So I know that there's this idea that I won't cover stories that make Democrats look bad. The truth is I cover those stories all the time, and I've been hugely critical of Democrats for years. I've criticized both at the micro and macro level so much of what Democrats are doing. I have no reason whatsoever, particularly since I'm not a Democrat, and I'm completely against the corporatist takeover of the Democratic Party that we've seen over the last 15 to 20 years. I have no particular reason to defend Democrats. I've never been a Democrat, and I'm not married to the idea of the two-party system. In fact, I think it's destructive. So if you're looking for that story, there are plenty of media outlets where you can find it. Traditional and non-traditional conspiratorial media outlets where you can see that. I don't believe that is a major story in any way, shape, or form. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Explain to me why it's a major story. Okay, let me get to a couple of the other stories that I am going to be talking about tomorrow. Actually, before I even do that, let me mention what's going on with the calendar. So for the last few years, I guess 3 years, we have done a David Pakman Show calendar, 2015, 2016, and 2017. The first two calendars were Patriot Mail themed. Last year's, or I guess this year's, which was available at the end of 2016, was a comic book styled calendar with comics, show-related comics from Dan Burke. People have started asking me, David, are you doing a 2018 calendar? And to be perfectly honest, I hadn't planned on it because we've been so busy, particularly dealing with the fallout from YouTube adpocalypse and demonetization. But I am completely open to doing a 2018 calendar. The thing is, we need art. It's always been audience-submitted art, either Dan Burke, the cartoonist who did last year's entire calendar, or audience Patriot Mail-related images. So I need your submissions. We need 12 images for the 12 months, as well as a cover. So these need to be 1920 by 1080 resolution. You send them in, and we will make a calendar if we get those 13 images. And if this is interesting to you, by all means, help us out, because I could not be less artistically skilled. I really couldn't. It's an absolute and total disaster. So I unfortunately can't contribute anything to the calendar other than the logistics of putting it together. But we're open to doing a 2018 calendar, and really we need to get it done by, I always want to make it available before Thanksgiving, so we have roughly a month to get this done. I think this is enough time, but it is up to you. The power is with you. And I'll follow up on that when we have some news. And we do have a video clip coming out about that will go into more detail about this. Okay, on the program tomorrow, I am going to be discussing this amazing video of John McCain just crushing Peter Doocy. And if Peter Doocy's name sounds familiar, his dad, Steve Doocy, is one of the least informed and most boneheaded Fox News hosts out there. And presumably by nepotism primarily, Peter Doocy also does reporting for Fox News. And this clip is amazing. We're going to play it tomorrow. Peter Doocy asked John McCain, because John McCain is having more and more of a conflict with Donald Trump, and rightly so, I should add. Peter Doocy asked John McCain, are you going to now just obstruct anything Trump proposes because you're having a personal disagreement with him? And John McCain looks at Peter Doocy like he's an idiot, which he is, and says, why would you say something that stupid? That's a really, really dumb question. And I don't know, as I mentioned today on the program, I don't know if John McCain is letting it all hang out, so to speak, because of this horribly tragic brain cancer diagnosis that he received, if it's because he believes that Donald Trump represents the total jumping the shark of the Republican Party. I couldn't tell you why. I really couldn't tell you why it is that John McCain is just saying what he thinks at this point. But I like it. And I'm not defending John McCain's politics. I don't, it's very easy to compare to Trump. Lots of right-wingers start to seem reasonable. I'm not romanticizing in any way John McCain. But I like the fact that he's, I guess, calling it like he sees it. And this clip tomorrow, I think you're really going to like this clip. It's really quite good. Also tomorrow, I'm going to be interviewing Abigail Marsh. Abigail Marsh is an expert on child psychopathy, and this is something I've read quite a bit about. Not because I was considered to be a child psychopath, by the way, just in case you were wondering, but I read a number of long-form pieces about it, and she has done a lot of work into, if you identify signs of psychopathy very early in kids, can you, I don't think cure is the right word, but can you functionally eliminate the problems that psychopathy can cause? Is problems the right word? I don't even know. Can you ameliorate the symptoms of psychopathy? I'm sort of searching for words here. But that's going to be an interview tomorrow with Abigail Marsh, which I'm really, really looking forward to. If you have questions for her, absolutely send them in via Super Chat or via Streamlabs. On Wednesday, I'm going to be interviewing Scott Page. He has a book called The Diversity Bonus. And in that book, he argues that companies should diversify in terms of ethnic and racial background, in terms of sexual orientation, in many different ways, not because of a morality issue, but because he believes there is actually a business advantage to diversity. So I'll be interviewing Scott Page on Wednesday. And then Thursday, this is just a major week, and kudos to producer Pat for having booked all of these interviews. Thursday, I'll be interviewing Neil Howe. Now, that's not a name you might recognize, but he is a major player in what's going on right now in the Trump administration because former chief White House propagandist Stephen Bannon is a big advocate of what is called Strauss-Howe generational theory. Okay, Google it if you've not heard of it. And that informs Steve Bannon's worldview, which was a big part in informing Donald Trump's perspective on politics to the extent that he has any perspective, and mostly it's do whatever someone told him 5 minutes ago. And Neil Howe, as the name suggests, is Howe from Strauss-Howe generational theory. Google it. It is fascinating, and I am really looking forward to speaking to him. So a lot of really, really good interviews coming up this week. And I look forward to doing them, and we're already working on great interviews for next week. Okay, let me do a couple thank yous so I don't fall behind on this. I mentioned at the top of the live stream that anybody who signs up for a David Pakman Show membership during the live stream will get a thank you from me. And a couple of people have done exactly that. What I would do if I became a member today was immediately watch or listen to today's bonus show, because over the weekend I was in Las Vegas at a conference. I had two really, really great stories. Oh, and thanks Gigantic for the contribution. We have the zombie animation today happening for Super Chats, I believe, or Streamlabs contributions. Over the weekend I was in Las Vegas, and the entertainment at the conference I was at was David Blaine. And I have a rape-related David Blaine story that I tell on today's bonus show. I also have an interesting story, and we have a lot of commercial pilots in our audience. I have an interesting story involving a major U.S. airline and what I would consider to be a moderate safety issue on my flight back from Las Vegas on Saturday. And I tell that story on the bonus show, and I really want feedback from people on that story. So if you do become a member, or if you're already a member, check out the October 23rd bonus show, because it is a doozy. In any case, thank you to Patty Goodall. Patty Goodall is a brand new David Pakman Show member. Thank you, Patty. You're a great person. And also, thank you to Christina Hasselblad. Christina has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. She has opted to use the coupon code IVoted17, which saves you 40% off of membership. 40% off of membership if you use the coupon code IVoted17. And the bonus show, just one of many member benefits. Okay, let me get to our first streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show contribution. Actually, before I even do that, I've been meaning to do this. I don't know if Jacob Ball is on today's live stream. Jacob is a regular on the live streams. Last live stream, which was a week ago, Eric Patterson made a major contribution through Super Chat of $99. And he challenged someone to beat that contribution. And Jacob Ball did with a $99.01 contribution. And then Eric Patterson made a $100 contribution. And at the time that I signed off from the live stream, that $100 contribution was the high watermark for the night. And just as I ended the stream, Jacob Ball came in with what I believe was a $100.01 contribution, again, besting Eric Patterson. And I had just disconnected, and it's been an entire week, and it's been weighing on my conscience for a full week. So Jacob, if you're here, I did see that you had the biggest contribution last Monday. Eric, you got bested. I don't know what else to say. I won't say you were cucked, because I don't think it applies here, but you were bested by Jacob Ball. And thanks, Jacob. I did see the contribution, and I really, really do appreciate that. Okay, let's get to today's first contribution, $5 at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show from Gigantic. Haven't seen your Josh Zepps interview yet. Am really excited. I have any number of feelings about it. Nice to get an Aussie on the show. Also, please shill the Discord. Yeah, so there is a Discord server for the David Pakman Show. You can find the details of it on our Reddit at davidpakman.com/Reddit. There was recently a debate between David Pakman Show Redditors and Sargon of Akkad, or I call them Carl Benjamin Redditors. And I believe upcoming there is a secular talk debate where David Pakman Show Redditors are going to be debating followers of the Kyle Kalinske secular talk Reddit. So a lot of really, really good stuff going on. So yes, the Discord is happening. And yes, I did interview Josh Zepps today on the David Pakman Show. It is going to be publishing, the standalone interview will publish to YouTube. Let me take a look at when that's happening. Actually, so the standalone interview isn't publishing till Friday. David Pakman Show members and patrons at the $5 a month level can already check out that interview because they get the full broadcast show every single day. So check that out. Josh Zepps, really good interview. And I want to I'm going to pre-announce an upcoming announcement, which is that Josh Zepps has been generous in inviting me to his podcast. Now, the Josh Zepp's podcast has had some major guests on it, and Josh has been kind enough to invite me. Some of the guests that he has had on his program include, who are they? I'm not finding the list right now. But believe me, folks, trust me, most people don't know this, but Josh Zeps has had some really good guests, and I might be on his program as early as this week. So really great interview. I'm looking forward to being on Josh Zepp's program, and that is very exciting stuff. I do want to issue one more thank you. We have a new patron at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Natalie Romer. Natalie Romer has pledged $2 a month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Natalie, thank you. And that really wasn't too painful, was it? And I've said this before. The numbers are actually quite staggering. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we have surpassed, and thank you, a donation from my girlfriend, apparently. We have surpassed 400,000 subscribers on YouTube, okay? We have 1,952 patrons. That means that only 0.48% of our YouTube audience is contributing at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. If we could just get to 2%, if we could get to 2% of our YouTube audience contributing on Patreon, which would be 8,000 patrons, I would never, ever have to talk about the off-a-cliff problems that we are having with revenue on the YouTube channel as a result of demonetization, because the problem would be over. We need only get to about 2% support, and it is over, folks. So thanks to Natalie for the contribution. Really appreciate it. And I will keep doing the thank yous. And before I get too far, I also want to send a thank you to Dana Lee. Dana Lee has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership opting not to use the 40% discount code I voted 17, but still very much appreciated. In fact, maybe more appreciated, because she's contributing the full $6 a month, and she will get access to two major stories on today's bonus show. One, which I am calling the David Blaine rape story from the weekend, and the other, which I am calling the major U.S. airline flight safety story. Okay, so two very good stories on today's bonus show. I don't know if anybody can hear that, but it sounds like my upstairs neighbors are bowling. I didn't know that they had installed a bowling alley upstairs, but I believe that they are bowling right now. Okay, Ingy Bingy 2000 has sent a $10 super chat. Question: is making videos about people like Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux, Gavin McInnes, and so on, pointing out the ridiculousness, worth it, or is it counterproductive? Very good question. The answer is, it depends. I don't think that a show just based on critiquing what conspiracy theorists and other right-wingers like Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux, and Gavin McInnes say, I don't think that that alone is a worthwhile program. I think that we need to be doing proactive stories the way we do, where we say, let us lay out illegal immigration for the next 30 minutes for you. Let us lay out, whatever. I do believe, though, that pretending the ideas of people like Alex Jones and these others don't exist, I don't think that that's a good idea either, because it furthers the sort of echo chamber and filter bubble ideas. And because of the social media algorithms that exist right now, even if you think that you're getting a diverse set of ideas because you're on Facebook and you read recommended articles or you do Google searches or whatever, all of those searches, everything that's being displayed is tailored to you already by algorithms on those networks and platforms. So I do believe that there is value to reminding people, particularly people who might already be in line with us in terms of ideology, that these ideas exist. Ignoring them will not actually make them go away, and it can actually provide cover for really bad ideas to become law. So I think that balance is the key. Okay. Excuse me. A user named David's girlfriend, who of course is not actually my girlfriend, sent a dollar contribution at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show saying, "Hi, David. It's lovely seeing you live stream. I'd really like to do a duo stream sometime. The fans will love it. Also, did you see that video where sexual fantasies about you and Cenk Uygur were narrated? This gigantic guy is a real piece of work, huh?" Yeah, so listen, there was a fan fiction done of me and Cenk Uygur involved in highly sexual circumstances several years ago. Somebody wrote it. It was just a written piece. And I don't know how it came back out of the woodwork a few days ago. And now it has been done as a full narration. And it's on our Reddit discussion forum. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's so tough to find stuff on that Reddit discussion forum. Let's see. If I search for Cenk, maybe it will come up. Man, I'm not finding it here. Let's see if I sort by new. Wow. Yeah, I'm not finding it, but believe me, it's available on our Reddit discussion forum at davidpakman.com/Reddit. I did see it. I found it funny. And it's clever, you know? So yeah, check it out if you're into that type of thing, I guess. Okay, our next super chat comes from Jamal Swift with a $10 super chat. What do you think of Kelly's "women used to be sacred" statement? Women used to be sacred. I have not seen that statement. John Kelly is sad. Women are no longer sacred. Women are not that sad, says the Huffington Post. John Kelly, White House Chief of Staff, made a comment during a news conference that focused on Trump's bungled phone call to the widow of a slain soldier. Kelly lamented that, unlike in the good old days, some things no longer get respect, like Gold Star families, religion, and women. "When I was a kid growing up, a lot of things were sacred in our country. Women were sacred and looked upon with great honor. That's obviously not the case anymore, as we see from recent cases." I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, the level of commentary that we get from Trump staffers is often completely unintelligible. So I don't know what he's talking about, but I will research it more, Jamal, and follow up if I think it's necessary. Juan Garcia sent a $2 super chat. "Romantic, marry, reject." Oh, I guess this is like the politically correct version of F, marry, kill. Beyonce, Rihanna, or Shakira? Romantic, marry, and reject. I think that from those three, I would marry Shakira. I would marry Shakira. I mean, I guess my instinct is that she would be sort of closest to the cultural background that I'm used to, being South American, although Argentinian and Colombian culture are pretty damn different. But anyway, yeah, Shakira. She seems like the best one to hang around for long periods of time. I would probably be romantic with Beyonce and reject Rihanna if that's what I had to do. Okay, and another super chat from Juan Garcia, $2. "Where would you rank Trump among presidents?" Listen, there's two answers to that, Juan. One is you can't really rank a president while they are still president. You really need to get some separation from their presidency in order to be able to more precisely assess their performance as president. However, there's nothing common about Trump's presidency, and I think that I am very confident saying that the first, October 23rd, so we are just over 9 months in. I think it's pretty clear that the first 9 months of Trump's presidency have been one of the biggest unmitigated and total abortions of early presidencies. I mean, can you think of a bigger bungling and total incompetence during the first 9 months of a presidency? And again, I am not romanticizing George W. Bush. I think it's really dangerous to normalize George W. Bush by pointing out that things were way less crazy when George W. Bush was president than under Donald Trump. But the George W. Bush presidency, I disagreed with the guy on policy, and I thought he was not equipped for the job, but it was nothing. It was nothing compared to what we are seeing now under President Donald Trump. So I think that we need to wait to see what the full damage is of the Trump presidency to really make a total assessment. But I'm pretty comfortable already saying it's bad. It's bad, and I don't know what else I can add to that. A couple of questions in the regular chat about the Race and IQ video. The Race and IQ video is one that we've been working on for a while, and I know I've been teasing it for a while. We are doing a long-form investigation, and I'm actually going to pull up the notes for it right now just so I can have them in front of me. We've been talking about doing a long-form Race and IQ, the connection between Race and IQ video, since basically Sam Harris's controversial podcast with Murray, the author of The Bell Curve. And the reason it hasn't yet been published is we really want to get it right. And there are so many angles to it, such that producer Noah and I have been going over it and moving things around, shortening, adding, removing. We had one of our viewers who is very well versed in this issue review the entire script in order to give us feedback as far as what it is that we should include and shouldn't include. So it's coming, and it's going to be very, very good. It's going to be a really, really good piece, and we're going to address not only we're going to address not only the data of Race and IQ, but also what it would mean, what IQ even measures. It's going to be one of the better long-form pieces that we've done, so stay tuned for that. Really, really good piece coming up. Okay, let's go to our next super chat from Ingy Bingy 2000, who sent a $10 super chat. Thanks so much. TYT had a video about new radiation regulations, citing a Bloomberg article yesterday. Thunderfoot and Jeff Holiday had responses to it. Are you familiar with it? No. New radiation regulations. Let's see what that says if I do a Google News search. EPA says higher radiation levels pose no harmful health effect. Okay, let me bookmark it right now and review. This is great. You guys are helping me plan tomorrow's program. I'm going to drop a link to that into tomorrow's list of possible stories, along with the reality that American life expectancy is declining, by the way. Not sure if you heard that story. I'll check that out, but I'm not familiar with that offhand, Ingy Bingy. We also have a couple new Streamlabs contributions. Streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. Jay-Z has sent a $4 contribution. David, stay away from Beyonce. There is no way that she can resist your rugged Argentinian charm. I feel the same way, Jay-Z. Very, very good point. Christina has sent a $1 contribution. Did you title the colors of your David Pakman Show t-shirts? I enjoyed the names of the selections. Yeah. So what Christina's referring to is that if you go to davidpakman.com/gear, you will see that the t-shirts and hoodies and everything else, and by the way, there are numerous different styles available, including Hatriot male themes and so many others. The colors have some interesting names, including camel, cantaloupe. Do you say cantaloupe or cantaloupe? I've always said cantaloupe. Charcoal, moss, earth, pomegranate. I chose none of those names. Our apparel manufacturer, who is based in Ohio, all the printing is done right here in the United States on 100% recycled fabric. They chose the color names, Christina. I'm just, quite frankly, not that creative. So no, I did not choose those names. Christina, with another $1 question, how often are you recognized from the show? You know, it's happening more and more often, and I get very uncomfortable whenever it happens. I was just in Las Vegas Tuesday through Saturday, and this conference I go to, it's all right on the Las Vegas Strip. And I find it very corporate and stuffy, and I want to get out of these huge casinos where smoking is still allowed in the casino area, and you don't see daylight for, you can really go the entire day without seeing natural light. So I will always hop in an Uber, or actually I use Lyft for political reasons, and go to Old Las Vegas or to the Arts District or wherever. And I was at a great coffee shop, a total hipster coffee shop that I really like in Las Vegas. And I grabbed my coffee and turned around, and someone said, "Hey, are you David?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I was recognized right there in the middle of Las Vegas. It happens, I would say, probably once a week at this point somewhere. And sometimes I recognize that I'm being recognized, but the person won't always come up and talk to me. But people are kind of loud, so I can often hear what they're saying to whoever they're with. But yeah, it's happening about once a week, and I'm always a little bit scared. And I always kind of stay back when I'm shaking hands because I'm worried someone's going to punch me in the face. And that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. Extreme Hatriots Story has sent a $4 Streamlabs.com contribution. You can do that at streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show. David, on the show you mentioned that you've had to forward Extreme Hatriot mail to the cops. I didn't say cops. I did not say cops. I would say it is, I forward it to federal contacts that I have, not cops. Has this ever resulted in anyone's imprisonment? What is the most extreme thing that has ever happened due to Hatriot mail? You know, I'm not sure that I should really answer that. I'm not sure that that's something I should really delve into. What I can tell you is I don't know for sure whether hate mail I've received has ever led to imprisonment. And that's the honest truth. But I don't know that it's really good to talk about that because I don't want to give any attention to those who might think it's clever to do something or say something or anything like that. James has sent a $2 streamlabs.com/The David Pakman Show contribution. How would a $15 national minimum wage be more effective than the minimum wage increases in Seattle? Average workers had made $125 less each month there. You know, James, I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I've not seen the data you're referring to. So I don't know exactly how to answer that. But, you know, I would point you to some, we've done a number of recent minimum wage related videos, and I would encourage you to check some of those out. It sounds like you might sort of believe some of the debunked talking points around the minimum wage. So maybe check that out, but I'm not sure how else to answer that story. Gigantic has sent a $1 Streamlabs contribution. Also, congratulations on 400,000 subscribers. Yeah, we have surpassed 400,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. I will mention it again. In September of 2009, when our channel started, we had under 800 views the entire month. We now average 5 to 15,000 new subscribers per month and 7 to 12 million views per month, which is incredible. And I only have the 400,000 plus people that are in our audience to thank. And yes, we are beyond 400,000 subscribers. Friday, we will be doing a mass email to everybody on our newsletter who signs up for our newsletter. You will get a coupon code for a huge membership discount that will be related to the 400,000 subscriber theme. So if you want to get in on that, you can just sign up for our newsletter at davidpakman.com. And I do have a couple other new members to thank. Nathan Ross has signed up during the live stream. Leslie Henson and Robert Elfont all have signed up at davidpakman.com/membership, just while we've been chatting here, which is really, really great stuff. Thank you to all of you. And we've got a big membership discount coming up on Friday, sort of in honor of or to celebrate 400,000 subscribers. Let's get to a couple other super chats. Juan Garcia has sent a $10 super chat. As the best progressive YouTube host, please debate and crush Ben Shapiro. He often talks smack about the left, saying we're violent, our policies are bad, despite the economy doing better under Democrats. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Number one, I've had Ben Shapiro on the program. We email every, I don't know, maybe like once a year. We'll email a couple times. I would be glad to have him on and debate him or to be on his program. The only thing would be it needs to be a specific debate about a particular issue. And a lot of times it's not clear what issue it should be. And it should be an issue that resonates with both of us and is sort of relevant not only to us but to the audiences. But I'm willing to do it. A user by the name of Who Framed Robert Picardo has sent a $2 super chat. The Orville or Star Trek Discovery? I don't even know what the Orville is. Let me Google that. The Orville is an American comedy series. You know, I don't watch Star Trek and I don't watch The Orville, but I see that The Orville is a comedy. I'm not that into comedies. I'm more into dramas and particularly dark ones. So I guess I would say, even though Star Trek isn't really dark, Star Trek Discovery. Ingy Bingy 2000 has sent a $5 super chat. I recommend looking at the Thunderfoot video about the new radiation levels. It's his area of expertise. I will. $2 super chat in Spanish from a user going by the name Yo soy Bob Oso, who says, David, ¿crees que deben quitar el Twitter de Trump? I think what he means, and this might be a translate.google.com translation, should Trump's Twitter, I don't know if you're asking whether Trump's Twitter should be removed from the internet or whether Twitter should be taken from Donald Trump. In other words, not allowing him to tweet. No, I think Trump should be allowed to tweet because it's absolutely fantastic, and I don't believe that Donald Trump's Twitter account should be taken down. But I do believe that Donald Trump deleting tweets is arguably a violation of the Presidential Records Act because these are declarations from the President of the United States. So I believe that Donald Trump deleting tweets is potentially problematic. And while we're doing the Spanish messages, we have a $1 Streamlabs contribution from a user going by Novia de David, which just means David's girlfriend in Spanish. And this happens to be the same user who regularly translates stuff into Spanish using Google Translate and asks me the questions. It's very, very awkwardly translated usually, but let's give it a shot. And it's very difficult to read these. Okay. Da tus fans lo que quieren. What he means is give your fans what they want, but it's a totally bogus translation. And he goes on to say, un segmento en español, meaning a segment in Spanish, solo una, only one. Quizás puedo ayudar con los comentarios políticos. Maybe I can help with the political commentaries. Cuando live stream de cocinar? Missing a word or two there, but the question is, when will you do a cooking live stream? Cuando live stream el show en Twitch? When will you live stream the show on Twitch? Vale, te quiero mucho, XX tu novia. Meaning, okay, I love you very much. XX, I don't remember if the X is hugs or kisses, your girlfriend. Is this funny to anyone? Are these bizarrely translated Spanish super chats funny to anyone? Because I don't find them that funny. I find them ridiculous, but they're not particularly funny to me. David Moss has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. When labeling yourself as a progressive, how do you challenge yourself to not be swooned into tribalism? Listen, I think that I do a couple things. Number one, I am more worried about tribalism in terms of political parties than in terms of just identifying as progressive. But I've done a video on this already, a long-form video, where I say, the label that I use is maybe the most appropriate label to communicate to what my general political views are, but I would much prefer to just talk about particular issues and say, here's where I am on this issue, and it can be characterized however you want, but let's discuss the merits of the issue and actually try to make good arguments and identify flaws in each other's arguments to better our understanding. So yeah, I label myself as a progressive because I think it's the most accurate term right now to communicate my general view to others. But I agree with what you're saying, which is anytime that you start identifying with labels, you can get away from focusing on issues. And I think issues are the most important thing for us to focus on. Okay, we've got 3 or 4 more of these questions, but I do want to take just a brief pause from this just to point out something we're doing, because I mentioned it very briefly at the beginning of the live stream and not since. We have started a Patreon page to allow people who maybe don't have $5 or $10 a month to contribute, to be able to contribute something to the production of the show, because the production of the show does incur significant cost. We have staff, we have connectivity issues, we pay rent at a studio. This is not happening out of my mom's basement, despite what many Hatriots like to say. And one of the things that I've expressed an interest in doing is taking the lectures that I've done at Boston College. I am adjunct professor of communication at Boston College this semester. I'm teaching a class on media literacy and epistemology and critical thinking and talk media. And I've offered to take my long-form lectures, which are about 75 minutes each, there's about a dozen of them, and turn them into YouTube videos. And when I mentioned this, we got so many emails from people saying, David, please do it. I've never gone to college and would love to see what your class is like, or this sounds like something I would really enjoy, whatever. And it's really a lot of work. So what we've done in order to try to piggyback on that and grow the financial support for the show is establish a 2,500 patron goal. When we get to 2,500 patrons, and we're about 80% of the way there, when we get to 2,500 patrons, we will go through the work. We will do the work, as I like to say, of producing, editing, and releasing those dozen long-form lectures. They will first be made available to our patrons since they are making this possible, but then, because I believe that this information and lessons should be available to everybody, the dozen lectures will be available to everybody on YouTube. So I would like it if people made some contributions to Patreon today, and I will thank every single one of you. And this is totally, it's totally, what am I trying to say? It is, it's an issue of each patron counts as one vote, one step towards 2,500, regardless of how much you can contribute. So if you can contribute 100 or 500 bucks a month, by all means, we need the money and I will welcome it. But we're looking for 2,500 patrons. So a contribution of $1 a month gets us just as much closer to the goal as a contribution of $10, $50, or $100 a month. So please make those contributions. I would really like it if we were able to get to 1975. 1975 is the patron target that I've established for tonight. And if we do that, I'll create and release to you a 55% membership discount code. We're only at 1952. We've only had one new Patreon contribution so far. It really does bum me out when we don't make progress on that. And I want to propose something else to you. I would be willing, if everybody thinks it would be interesting, I would be willing to set up something in the background for these live streams where maybe I'm stacking Jenga tiles, and every time we get a contribution via Patreon, I add one, and whatever number of tiles I'm able to stack, we create before they fall. I create a discount code for that percentage. I don't know. I'm willing to think of other things, and some of them might be gimmicky, but some of them might be kind of entertaining. Another possibility would be, this is just an idea, I've got a fidget spinner here. And maybe when I spin it, we come up with, I don't know, people bet on the number of seconds that it will spin on its own by making Patreon contributions of a particular amount. And whoever is closest, as this thing is slowing down, I think the bearing on this one might be messed up because I dropped it a bunch of times. Maybe they get a free membership. I don't know. Anyway, I'm willing to think of different ideas, but by all means, please do get those contributions in. 2,500 will be a really big deal for us in terms of what it'll represent as far as financial support, but more importantly, it will lead us to create and release a dozen long-form lectures on critical thinking and media literacy and epistemology. Okay, let me get back to Super Chats and Streamlabs contributions. The Real Tubateer has sent a $10 Super Chat. What are your thoughts about Governor Walker and other politics in Wisconsin? Many of us are scared of the Vanishing Pension Act that's been going on. I do not envy Wisconsin residents. You have been crushed for, at this point, what, 8 years more? And it's very easy when you live somewhere else to just say, hey, move somewhere else. But the truth is, people are rooted where they live. They are there mostly for a reason. They have family, they have jobs, whatever else the case may be. And it's not reasonable to say, hey, just get out. Just go somewhere else or move. And I genuinely feel terrible for what's going on in Wisconsin. And we're going to cover the Vanishing Pension Act. Alexander Bergman has sent a $10 super chat saying, how could Trump pull off some Russian collusion plot if he's barely capable of completing a sentence? The media acts like the Russians have this master plot to overthrow democracies, and we do that too. Here's the thing, Alexander. You don't need Trump to be complicit to be involved in the election of Trump and to benefit from the election of Trump. The whole point is Trump is a puppet because he's a moron. And in fact, if you were Russia, you're almost better off getting Trump elected, thinking that he got himself elected merely on his merits and political proposals and policy proposals, because then he is much more likely to be manipulatable into doing what you want if he doesn't think that it's coming directly from you. So I think you're actually I think his incompetence is evidence that he is a ripe target to be manipulated in exactly the way that we suspect might have happened. Steve Louie sent a $5 Canadian super chat. Loved your interview with Frank Schaeffer in 2015. I attended Le Brie in Switzerland and can relate to his life now. Still got to read his book. Do not miss my interview with Francis Schaeffer from a couple of years ago. Very, very interesting for sure. Tune In Dropout sent a $10 super chat. Have you seen the video of the phone conversation with another Gold Star widow, Natasha De Alencar? You can view it on CNN Politics. Just Google Gold Star widow's full phone call with Trump. I haven't. It's bookmarked, and I plan to look at it before tomorrow's show. The D2J Bug has sent a $5 Canadian super chat. All your Smurf are belong to Smurf. Okay. I couldn't possibly comment on that, but I do appreciate the contribution nonetheless. A couple more Streamlabs contributions. Christina sent a $1 contribution. I was catching up on the bonus show this morning, and there was a brief discussion of Pat being kicked off a flight over an unsuitable vegan meal. Have you ever had an incident that got out of control in a similar way? Well, that was a joke, Christina. I hope that the sarcasm was evident. Pat was not kicked off of a flight because of a subpar vegan meal that he has admitted to. I've not really had incidents that got out of control in a similar way, but the story I told from my flight on Saturday on today's bonus show is dramatic nonetheless. Blue has sent a $2 Streamlabs.com contribution asking, do I follow Richard Wolff's show, Economic Update? You know, I really don't follow the show, but I get the summaries of what's on the show on a regular basis, and Richard Wolff was an economics professor of mine at the University of Massachusetts when I was an undergrad, and he's one of the most frequently appearing guests on the David Pakman Show, and I'm following his work, if not his program. TDPS Historian has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. Anthony Fantano deleted his That Is the Plan channel. As a result, we have lost the video Pat's Vegan Birthday. Please get it back. It is an important part of TDPS history. You are right. There was a really good video made, and I didn't know that that channel has been deleted. If you can help me get it, and I don't know how it would be done, if you can reach out to someone, if you can try to pull it from the YouTube, from a archived version of the YouTube page, although I don't know if YouTube pages are archived in that way, get it to me. I'll ask Anthony for permission and try to get it uploaded to our channel because we don't want to lose that. That is a major creative piece of David Pakman Show history. Christina sent a $1 Streamlabs contribution. The Google translated comment brought up a good question. When will you do cooking live streams or videos? What I have planned, and I just placed an order today, what I have planned is 2 coffee or as we say, Cobfeffi related videos where I'm going to be using both David Pakman Show coffee blends. One is an espresso blend and one is a drip coffee blend to make coffee in my kitchen. And I would do it as a video. The problem with live streaming it is that it could go horribly wrong. The advantage to live streaming it is that it could go horribly wrong. That's both the blessing and a curse. Maybe I would live stream making coffee with David Pakman Show coffee beans. They'll be coming, I think they come in tomorrow. I ordered a couple bags from Patrick today. So we will see if I can get that done. GR has sent a $2 Streamlabs contribution. Trump's approval rating is in fact on the rise. Twilight Zone episodes are playing in the background of an Escher illustration. That is sensibility. Doug Jones, y'all. Holla at the D's. Word to Gigantic's mama. Frank McWright, church homie. Love GR. Very good. You know, I had missed GR's super chats, his unintelligible super chat contributions, and he has now fully and efficiently transitioned over to Streamlabs, and for that I think we can all be very, very grateful. And on that note, I have to say a major thank you to Jamal, who has just pledged $50 per month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Jamal, thank you. That is absolutely, absolutely huge. And I could not appreciate that more. Join Jamal. Can you match Jamal with just $1? I'm not saying match Jamal with $50 a month, but can you match Jamal by making a contribution of just a single dollar? If Jamal can do 50, can you do $1? Most of our audience from the surveys we've done, more than 90%, can afford $1 a month. I don't need 90% of you to do it. I only need 2% of our YouTube audience to make a Patreon pledge, and it will solve the financing woes of the David Pakman Show. So that would be a big thing. And on that note, thank you to Patrick Stallsmith. Patrick Stallsmith has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership using the discount code IVoted17, which saved him 40%. Very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. We do have a new super chat question. It is from Alexander Bergman for $2. He says, the Hills Clinton uranium story, what are your thoughts? Talked about it earlier on in the live stream, Alexander. There are reasons why I have not covered it yet. And I would say, I don't want to repeat it for people who have been on the entire stream, but go back and check it out because I did address that already. And on that note, I've got to go make dinner. Coffee live stream. I'm thinking about it. Maybe very, very soon.